Hey team, Alex here, hope you're all super well. We just released a new update for Rhythmizer, that's Rhythmizer 1.1. The main thing with this one was a Pro Tools update. We've also included Tooltips, which I'm going to show you in 1 second. But the main thing we'll be looking at today is some of the new synth presets, which I've included with this update, which have corresponding Rhythmizer presets, right? So Rhythmizer synth presets that go together. So yeah, quick thing on the tooltips. Now if you come here and just touch this little icon here, and as you navigate the device, you've got the tooltips in the top corner, helping you to navigate the device. And also if you come to settings, scroll down, you'll see that we've got it in English, Spanish, French, German, and we will be adding more languages to that. But yeah, the main thing we'll be looking at today are some of the synth presets and Rhythmizer presets that go together. I'm going to walk you through how I made them. I think that will help you when you're using them at your end. I'm going to show you the MIDI I was using. I'm going to show you how I set up Rhythmizer for them, and I'm going to actually walk you through the synth presets as well and show you some like sound design and sort of synth goodness that I put in, which I think will be useful if you're interested in making good presets. The reason that I included this selection of presets is because I do talk a lot in my videos about how I think it's important to send Rhythmizer to well-made synth sounds, right? You could have good MIDI going in, you could have Rhythmizer all set up, but if the actual synth sound or the sampler that you're sending it to is not of good quality, then it's never going to quite sound right? So to get Rhythmizer really singing, let's be sending its output to well-made synth sounds. And let's have a quick preview of some of the ones that I've actually included today. So those are the sounds that we'll be looking at today. I'm also going to be touching on MIDI mapping because most of these presets come with the map slots actually all loaded up, ready to control various parameters on the synths, right? So this preset has macro 7, macro 5, and macro 8 on Serum 2 all hooked up, but we do need to load into Serum 2 just the MIDI map that we've provided. I mean, I basically just did it, but I'll walk you through it a little bit slower. Now, I didn't actually record this one on camera, it's just audio only, but yeah, let's just get straight into it. Alright, so let's look at the preset line patterns. So this is a Serum 2 preset. Now, by the way, I'm going to be showing everything I do by recording it live to MIDI. I know that not all DAWs can do that, but Live can, and we're using Live. So it's a great way to visualize. So let's talk about this preset. First of all, this is a poly preset, which means that I can actually give it a chord sequence. And one thing you need to know is that in a lot of these presets, I've actually used the mapping slots to automate the synth, right? So in the Serum case, we have macro 7, macro 5, and macro 8, all being modulated by Rhythmizer. And we could say map up a fourth one. So let's go to here. Let's say macro 4. We've got gate modulating macro 4, and I'll just enable that slot. And now you can see right there, the gate control is actually modulating macro 4. If I was to turn the gate up, So it's a great way of getting them all talking to each other. However, how does Serum 2 know which CC value is connected to which macro, or indeed that CC, for instance, 28 modulates envelope to decay? How do they know that? How are they speaking the same language? And to get that fully working, you need to come to Menu, Load MIDI Map, and then here is the MIDI map that we have given you, right? So if you come to your downloads, come to MIDI Maps, here is a Serum 2 full MIDI map. We've provided them for other synths as well. Load that, and now they are speaking to each other. And if I was doing this preset again, I might turn down the 30-second notes and even have less of these steps over here in our step sequencer. Just to get a sort of slightly cleaner sound. I'm also going to quickly mention the processing I've used because we're sort of talking about getting good sounds, right? So I have high passes quite a bit and put a bit of dynamic EQ. I'm using my trusty Valhalla delay. Probably turn the feedback down a little bit on that. I'm using the M stereo expander to get a bit of width. It's a really great one. And I'm using LFO tool to get some sidechain pumping, just like that. And if you're wondering how I would actually put that into a track, I just create an audio channel, set it to record from this synth channel, right? And just record. And you turn off the delay. Right, and then we've got all kinds of great sort of stabs there to use. And this is now very usable content. Right, so let's take a look at the Diva Stabmonster preset. Right, this is a nice little stab preset. And this one is also a poly preset, right? So I'm actually on my MIDI keyboard here, just playing basic triads. There's not as much to know about this particular preset. I have used the map slots mostly just to automate the envelope control so that it's kind of constantly, it just adds some sort of dynamic interest. The velocity is linked to filter, so if I want to open up the filter a bit more, I can do that right there. And if we come to the actual synth itself, the processing, again, I've got some pretty liberal high passing, got some compression. This is more like a parallel compressor, right? So I've got the dry wet super low. It's very, very squashy, but low dry wet. Got some vintage verb, some atmosphere. Again, I've got some pump and LFO tool. Got the M stereo expander, again, right there. And again, I would just be recording little audio chunks of this, right? Or just recording it straight to MIDI. Now, as with the other synths, this preset comes with a lot of mapping, which is quite essential to its sound. So again, I've come here, I've got my Diva preset because we're using Diva. Over in Diva, now again, we have provided a MIDI map for you, a custom Rhythmizer MIDI map for Diva, and it is that MIDI map folder, right? So it's right there. There is also an FAQ included in here on how to load the Diva MIDI map. You just have to do it one time and then it's done. Now let's take a look at another Serum 2 preset, Tamperworks. A little bit more sound designy this one. Let's take a listen. Some nice kind of macros going on there. This is a poly preset, which means I'm playing chords into it, right? I've got the flux control up, and as you can see up here, that's randomizing intervals within your chords. So we're getting kind of different chord intervals every time, but the input chord is just staying the same. I've got the latch control on, which means I just pressed my MIDI keyboard once and it's kind of frozen on that. I have to keep pressing it. And the reason it's playing such long chords is because my bass groove is one whole bar. Right, let's check out another one. Right, let's talk about the preset for Serum 2 called Myrsky, which means storm in Finnish. So I was going for more of like a dark, kind of plucky analog vibe here. We can open that up with this open macro. But my favorite macro with this one is actually this rain sheet macro. This one, I think I could also probably use more of a step sequenced approach. You notice, by the way, that I've actually got the note, that is the incoming note, hooked up to FX bus 1, which is a reverb. So that means that the higher the note, the higher the musical note, the more it's going to be sent to that reverb bus. So you can hear that those higher notes are actually sort of getting little reverb splashes. But we can bypass that if we wanted to. Just doesn't sound as epic. Right, and we're also hearing that there's some bend mode on here, right? So we got bend mode, the rate is quite slow, the actual bend amount is not that big, and the chance is quite small, which means we're only getting occasional flourishes. But if you look down here, you should see that, or if we turn the chance up maybe, yeah, we're getting those little pitch wobbles there. So that is Myrsky. Right, this next one is the Viper lead. It is also a polyphonic poly preset, which means that we're giving it a chord sequence, right? We're not just giving it one long note. This preset I find works quite well with a bit of extra octaves thrown in. I find that quite pleasing. We can use the extend knob to be drawing less notes from that input chord. And we're using the gate length. It's quite long. But say if we want to just have more of a kind of typical trancey sound, we can have lower gate notes with more randomization. Throw some more eighth notes in there. I find glitch works quite well with this one. Maybe I'll bring the octaves down to like, say, 1 octave range. So something like this, I would probably try it with just the occasional burst of steps. And then just bring the delay up a little bit. And if we wanted to hook up a macro, we could go to our Serum 2. Let's say put map LFO. All right, so that's the modulation, and we'll send that to macro 5, which is filter. And we'll control the range. Ah, that's really nice. Again, just knocking all the bass out. Add a bit of chorus. Just to loosen it up a little bit. More stereo expander. And we could make this delay a bit more reverby by adding some diffusion. Oh, that's lovely. So that was a nice kind of evolution of this Viper lead preset. Let's check out a few more. All right, this is another Pigments preset. This is Driftosphere, and it sounds like this. This is also a poly preset, right? So I'm feeding it a chord sequence. And I've got some nice little macros lined up for this one. Get some nice expressive stuff there. I guess the obvious one with this kind of preset would be to play with the extend knob, to play with the range of notes. We can extend that range of notes. Maybe play with the up-down direction. Of course, this is all 30-second notes. And I also have both the velocity LFOs and the gate LFOs going. So you can see that the gate length, the length of each note is actually moving in a circular fashion. And here in velocity, I haven't actually assigned that to anything. But for instance, if I was to say over here in FXA, let's add a multi-filter. And if I was to connect velocity to the cutoff, maybe connect a negative modulation to the filter, resonance, sorry. Oh, and while I'm here, I'd be interested to see how adding some chord triggers to this would sound. Maybe turn up the flux to randomize the intervals. Wow, that's pretty cool. All kinds of interesting fun we could have there. And again, don't forget to come to MIDI. Just make sure that this misspelled Rhythmizer Pigments full map is selected. Alright, this is one called Echotronic Fusion. It is from my Echotronics banks, but I've added a few more macros. Mostly riding the cutoff on this one. This one's good fun with the loop knob as well. And whenever groove 1 plays, this 8th note, it sends a little blast to macro 6, which is a delay send. So long 8th note sends out to this delay send right there. And this one's also fun for this macro here. One thing I did to actually give this one a little bit more body and size was this towel chorus, which you've seen a few times already. I really feel like it adds a lot of body to the sound. I don't like things being too clean or too pure sounding. I think this adds a really nice little bit of extra kind of dimension to it. Let's move on to the next one. All right, so let's take a look at another Pigments one, Peripheral Heights. Most of the macros are already mapped here. And added this other warp macro. This is a mono preset, right? So just one note of input, right? We're not sending this chords. I've created this custom scale. This one I find works really nicely with some occasional like 8th notes thrown in. And also some glitch. You can see we're getting some little MIDI glitches here. Don't forget you can change the intensity of that glitch. So if we turn it down here, it's just going to give us really basic. And then we can change the intensity of that glitchiness. All the way up here, it just goes kind of a little bit more sort of sporadic and less regular. We add some extra octaves as well. Try different octaves. Hit some loop button. This is all coming across as like really usable stuff for me. So there you have it. I really enjoyed walking through those presets for you guys. If you're wondering how to grab the actual download, come here to the Futurephonic website. Click here on your little icon up here. That will get you into your account. Come over to My Orders. Find your Rhythmizer order and just click View Order here. And then down here, you've got Download Your Files. Just click there, and that will take you right through to the download. That's all for today. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.